Hello and welcome to this video about the Avalanche Institute, and this is in particular about our Climbers course, which is for spring mountaineering, not for winter ice climbing and such. So this is a course oriented towards people climbing and ski touring, typically in the May and June time frame. And since it's a spring course, I put on my spring meat shirt here, although it's a little bit cold today here in Tbilisi, yesterday and today in the Caucasus. It's supposed to be spring again soon, though. So let's take a look at this course, and what I want to do is explain a little bit about the course and what is available as far as learning what is in the course on the website, and then I'm going to actually open the door, so to speak, and show you how the software and the platform works. And it's a bit different from, we started our programs in 2008, about maybe 2007, long time before this craze of just creating a course in 5 minutes and monetizing it. So this was created long before that. We continue not to sink into that abyss, as I would put it. So this followed from an in-person course, although online we don't have the same constraints that we had in a weekend course. First of all, why a climbers course? Well, climbers have different issues that time of year. There's a lot of things they don't need to learn, and there are some other things they do need to learn. We don't cover winter snowpacks in this course. We don't emphasize the difference in climates between a maritime climate and a continental climate. In a level 1 winter course, that gets emphasized all the way through the course in every section, because it greatly impacts every part of that course: weather, snowpack, decision making, everything. In May and June, we're not looking at a big difference in the different snowpack climates. We're looking at the same factors anywhere. We do cover melt freeze factors, new snow in spring, in summer when the sun hits it directly, pretty quickly. We cover planning and decision making. Climbers don't have a lot of decision points. They don't have as many as skiers do. Skiers can choose their route or decide on their tour, or they can identify a few different options. Climbers start at the bottom and spend a long time getting to the top, most of it in avalanche terrain on many routes. And so we emphasize planning in any course. It's really the essential factor, and it's what we see behind many incidents, but it's particularly important for climbers. There's not much point in this climber this time of year digging a snow pit, especially halfway up a route when the time is essential. What you see in the snowpack at 8 o'clock in the morning, if you can even dig into it, is not going to be the same as what you find in the middle of the afternoon. The conditions change. So that's why we developed this course for climbers. And it grew out of a course that was taught in person in a weekend format on Mount Hood for many years during the spring season. And that one was a little more of a modification of level 1. And now that we've put it online, and we've actually, and we were also going to have an awareness course, which was distilled from a level 1, and that's not the way to do it. This isn't distilled from the level 1. It's different material and a different approach for a different audience with different needs. So let's take a look at the website here. And I should have mentioned if you've watched any videos or if you've been on the Avalanche Center a while, you know who I am. I'm Jim Frankenfield. I'm the director of the Avalanche Center, and I have created the content in the Avalanche Institute. And I've been doing this online project for 30 years. There is a video on the YouTube channel here introducing myself if you want to learn more about my background in science, my background in education and higher education, and my background as a climber and skier. You can check out that video. It's pretty brief and limited, but at least introduces you a little bit to who I am. So on the homepage of the Avalanche Center, just avalanchecenter.org, and I believe that'll work with or without the dash up there, but we use the dash as our primary domain. these are categories. These are incident reports going back almost 30 years or full 30 years. News hasn't been too much lately. Should get rid of the forums because people just don't use them and participate anymore. The internet's much more passive and less interactive now. So we have the Institute, and that'll take you to the Avalanche Institute with our course programs. And these are the courses that we have available. And this page needs to be a little bit reorganized and shuffled around, but it won't look drastically different. We don't do massive redesigns now and then. If you're familiar with the website this year, it'll look familiar next year and the following year. So you don't have to reorient yourself. So let's go to the Climbers Avalanche course for spring. That's the one we're going to talk about here. And there's a whole lot of information on this page. And it's going to be very detailed information. I'll show you in a second on the description page. And actually if we were in this for the money, if we wanted to be, $1 million of revenue, like an area program or something like that, or some of the major schools out there, this would be detrimental. I'm well aware that a lot of people don't want to read very much on the internet. They look at a course program, they see a couple paragraphs, it sounds good to them, and it's nearby, it's convenient, so they sign up. And we're not really in that market. We put all this information out there for people that really want to know what is the course going to cover and how's it going to work. And we're making this video so you can see how it actually works. We have some, other than the description, there's some feedback, which this needs to be updated to go to climbers feedback. This is level 1 course feedback. I don't know why it's either not linked or we haven't created a page with feedback from climbers, but we do have good feedback from this course. Where you need to make a new FAQ page. If you have any questions, let us know. We need to add them to the FAQ. And our Institute FAQs are obsolete and they still use a Perl CGI program. We're moving to a better way of doing that. So there's a little bit up here about why it's different. There's a page on the differences. This is exactly how it differs from a level 1. But let's look at the description. And I'm not going to go through this here because it's here for you to read, assuming you're interested in what you're going to get when you pay for a course. So all of our courses have sort of a flow chart of a module, and there's 5 modules here on the right side. The 2 on the left side are actually our safe travel and rescue course, which is a separate short course, and it's included in this course. There's some differences, and those are going to be talked about in the introduction and in some supplementary materials. But you do get the full information on self-rescue and safety equipment. You can click on any of these boxes, and unfortunately the pop-up may not show up on this video, but there's a pop-up here and it lists the objectives for Module 5, Snowpack 1. So you can see exactly and that won't work on a phone because when you minimize this flowchart, it messes up the links, and fixing that turns out to be pretty non-trivial. But you can go down here and follow these links, and you can go to, let's go to Weather 1. Okay, this whole page is just on the module. For each of the 5 modules, all of this information is available. And it's a mirror of what's inside the platform, which we can't make directly public. So we just mirrored it here. So here's our feedback on it. Objectives are met. We generally have 100% on meeting objectives. If it's in the objectives, it's in the course. If you log in and you go through the course, you will meet the objectives. We don't have to shuffle them. We don't have objectives that depend on weather conditions in the field. We don't have objectives that will cut short because we ran out of time. There's an overview. Here's the objectives again on this page. The the topics. This is how things are organized in the platform, and this is actually the outline of the module as it appears inside the platform. And I mentioned objectives and outdoor objectives, and meeting outdoor objectives does depend often greatly on conditions. We don't have any field work of any kind in this course. It's all about planning. It's all about planning your climb based on the weather and the snowpack conditions and putting a team together accordingly, and balancing your risk of avalanches with your other risks, rockfall, crevasses, and other things. So this one is really all about planning. There's not much point in field days in the spring. So we, back when we were teaching these on Mount Hood, I remember we saw a field day course, and they had a roof block column that was about 2 meters high, which is ridiculous to begin with. It was all sloppy and crooked. And I don't know what kind of objective they were trying to meet, but I don't think anybody got anything out of that. So let's, the last, other than the description, let's go back to the main page. There's a registration page. So our current cost right now on this course, the regular retail cost is $149. I was looking around a little bit the other day. I saw a $159 refresher course. They don't have any kind of details like this about what you're going to get. You don't know if there's going to be any assessment. You don't know what kind of platform they use. You don't know if you can have any discussion with students or send documents or anything like that. And then again, this is what we're offering in terms of information may be detrimental, because there's probably more people willing to say, hey, it looks good, I'll pay $159, and they'll watch a few videos and they'll feel like they got their money's worth. If you're more discerning than that and you really want to know more about what you're getting, then you're the kind of student that we've really targeted in our program. So these are the public pages. Up here in the breadcrumbs, you can go to the public pages. You can also go to the course pages. And so this is where students log in for any of the courses. So let's take a look now and open the door, so to speak. Okay, and that's not going to work. And the reason it didn't work is because we are using Unix, not Windows here, and to run the platform. And so it's case sensitive. And if you don't use the right case, it won't recognize you. So these are the modules that I'm in, and we have to enroll you in each module. Okay, we know who's in the classes. We don't just sell this and say go watch videos. We know who's in the class, we know what module they're in, and one module is often a prerequisite for another module or group of modules, and we'll put you in the next module after you finish the prerequisite or when you get very close to finishing it. So you may not see the whole course at one time, and in this account, which I really hadn't used much except for testing until this video, I'm only enrolled in the introduction, which you have to finish before you do anything else. Typically, you could do weather and snowpack after that, and you can then go on to the, anytime you can do the other separate rescue course. There's a human factors module, and then there's a planning module. And the planning module probably has everything else as a prerequisite. This tells you what's new. So there's some new links have been added in module 1. There's something new in the Dropbox. I'll show you what the Dropbox is. Down here, that's the Dropbox again. That's so let's go to a module here. The course description is going to be the same thing I showed you publicly. So there's a very good framework for creating that inside Dokios, and we just copied what we created to the public side. There are links related to the course, to that module. Often we use case studies and incidents that are in our vast database of several thousand incidents over 25, 30 years. Go back to the course home. There is the learning path. Let's come back to the Dropbox, but here's the learning path. Here's some tips for success we always include on how to use the platform and how to take the quizzes and assessments. There's a workbook, which is not a book. It's not a textbook and not intended to be, but each module has a chapter available. And so some of the steps in the learning path are your pages. You can print those out if you want to have one copy at the end. We always, and this is from the workbook, so the introduction tends to have a lot of PDF. We used to send this material out in advance. So throughout our program and throughout any module, there's quizzes and assessments. So this one had basic terms. This is starting zone, things like that many people will already know, but we don't want to make that assumption. There's a short quiz on that, and you have to get 95 or more on that to continue. If you don't, you can retake it. Those scores are set so that most people do pass them. They're set based on experience. And if the scores are low or high, we'll modify the quiz. Let's see, this one just has one more, which we call the final exam. So this is multiple choice. I don't think I want to go through the whole quiz because it'll take up time on the video, but okay, loose snow is avalanche is not. It's not always wet snow, so it tells you that's correct. After you get it correct, you can go and choose another one, and there'll be a comment about why it's not correct. And we have different kinds of quizzes: multiple choice, multi-select, which you just saw. We have crossword puzzles. We have short answers, and we also sometimes, in the level 1 anyway, have assessments that you submit via the Dropbox and they get reviewed by a person. So go back to the learning path. I can go back to the course home. Let's look briefly at, I have to go back to the main page to see all of my courses. Let's look at weather. And this one has a few more options. We don't use the agenda. I'm not sure if anyone ever has, but it's available and it's been tested and it works if you want to use it yourself to set dates or goals. There are forums, which in this course have not been used too much, but we'd like to have more people in it together at the same time so that there's more discussion. We've had a little bit of use of those in level 1. And then here's our learning path. So this is all of the weather material. Wind energy precip. We cover energy balance in the spring, precipitation in the spring, wind effects, forecast products, and ultimately we'll put that together with what's in the snowpack module, and we'll put it all together in a planning module about how to plan a safe climb. So the last thing to demonstrate is the Dropbox, and this is another way to communicate. Of course, you can always email. You can always email me, and I've had a lot of interaction with students on here. Again, it's not something that we just send you to a video to watch or send you to an unattended program and after collecting your fee. We can send a message to somebody. You can't just send a message, you have to upload a document, but you can upload any kind of simple text document. And you can send it to anyone. It says just upload. I assume that sends it to yourself. I haven't checked that in a while. If we go back to the Institute, we'll see that I'll finish here by going to the testing. These are all the things we could use. There's supposed to be a new Dropbox thing in here. So I just sent a file to myself the other day just for demonstration purposes. I sent a graph. So that's you can send that to another student. You can send that to several people. You can send it to the course administrator, which would be the AlpenPro account. And I can reply to that over here where it says blah, blah, blah. I can provide feedback on something, or I can send you another document. So that's something we do make use of, and it's another form of communication. Documents is where we put our documents. That's usually not public. Tests, we haven't used groups. I played around with that and tested it out, but I haven't used that. Announcements for the course, which we also haven't had much use for. But these are all the things that are, and student publications we'd use in one module in the level 1 document. We ask students to upload a document. And that's not to us by Dropbox. That's a document that goes into a collection that other students can also see and comment on. So that's how the program works. I was just going to, there was one other thing I wanted to show, maybe in weather. If you're in the learning path, you can come down here and this little graph icon down here, this shows you how you're doing and what score you got on each test in the module. So I could do that in the introduction module and see they told me there's something new in the Dropbox. Let's see what's in the Dropbox. Nothing. So that's something's up with that. Go to the learning path on this one and let's see the quizzes. So on this one, yeah, there's one that's 96. So in this account, I did a multi-choice, multi-select one very quickly, and I had one of them wrong. So my score was 96. And it can tell you which modules are complete. And you have to complete one to go to the next one. If you don't complete the comments one here, then you can't go to the snow climates, which is next. So you have to do this in order. So when someone finishes this course, and we don't really emphasize certification in this course, but we can certify that what you learned and that you did learn it, that you demonstrated an adequate knowledge of the material. We know exactly what you finished and what your test scores are, and we know that you went through it and you didn't skip things. And if that bothers you and you want to skip things or you want to do something quick and easy or just watch a couple videos, then we're really not the right program for you. Okay, so let's go back to the Avalanche Institute. I can log out. And so this Dokios is an older program. We started using it in 2008. There was this and Moodle, and I do use Moodle for other projects now, other courses, but I don't think it's suitable for this course and this material. I still prefer Dokios. There are many other options today, and many of them are flashier, but there are a lot of problems with different platforms. Often you have to pay somebody else to use their platform. They could change the policy. I read something about one called Udemy a year or two ago, and they suddenly announced that you couldn't have a course on there that cost over a certain amount, which means that all you're going to get is cheaply produced courses that require a lot of enrollments at a low fee. And they sprung that on the people offering courses. So people that had labor-intensive courses they spent time creating suddenly couldn't charge a suitable fee for that. This runs on our server, and it's been updated from one version of PHP to the next it needs to be updated again, and that's a big project. But at this point, the code itself is very familiar. If something goes wrong or there's a glitch, I just found something, the announcements wasn't working. I just discovered that yesterday. And it was easy to fix. It's an SQL setting in one of the variables that because some of the code was written in older SQL. So there's a lot of advantages to it. The other thing is that it's functional. I don't see why we should go to something glossier and fancier. And I understand that that sells more, but I think in terms of effectively teaching this material, this platform has proven itself to work very well. And there are plenty of chances for interaction, which I think is important. I've interacted a great deal with some students, lots of back and forth emails. You can always email me in addition to using the Dropbox or doing something in the forums. So that's how the course works. The other thing is you can go back to the public page. Let's go back to the Climbers course, and let's look at the registration to finish here. And if you want to compare this fee and what you're getting to other courses, go ahead. I think that's a good thing. You should be doing that. And I think if you don't have the kind of information you need from another provider, you should ask them. Ask them, what are their objectives? How's the platform work? Can I talk to other students? Can I talk to you? You need to find those things out. If you decide to enroll in this, this is our regular fee. You can do this anytime. If you log in as a member by clicking the key, and this is Avalanche Center membership, you need to contribute at least $25 to be a member, but you'll save at least that much on the course, and you'll save on other things as well. We just released a book on last year's fatalities. You can get a free Kindle version, free of charge if you're a member. Just let us know. We'll send it to the device. There's actually a free version of that book online. You can't. It's not designed to be downloaded, but you can read the book online for free. Or if you're not a member, you can go purchase it either as Kindle or paper, either one. So it is cheaper if you're a member. We're also going to have special. We always have had discounts. We have a discounts page, which I'm hesitant to show too much right now because it's outdated, and so I need to update that. I think what we're going to try this spring, 2023, is to have discounts for it's the 1st of April as I'm recording this. I'd like to start a group in the middle of April. So starting in the next day or two, we'll have special deals. We'll probably have a special page where you can enter a code, and we'll be announcing codes, and those will be good for 24 to 48 hours. So if you read our email updates that you can get to on our home page. If you go actually to the home page of the Avalanche Center, at the top, you can subscribe to our email list. We don't send a lot of email, but there may be 1 or 2 emails before we begin a group, and those emails may have a code you can enter for probably a very significant discount. You'll need to get the code, and you'll need to use it within 24 to 48 hours. We may also announce a code on our Facebook group, maybe on Twitter, which we don't use a whole lot, and maybe on LinkedIn. So if you follow us around and check out what we're doing in different places and watch for codes, you may get a much lower rate. It'll be a one-time deal for a group beginning on a certain date. And we'll expect people to progress at more or less the same rate and finish. If we begin this in mid-April, especially this year, you will have it finished in time to benefit for May and June climbing. This is a late winter so far in the U.S., and so We'd like to get everybody prepared before they go out in the May and June season. Before that, the conditions are not the same as what we address in this class. So if you're out before the snowpack has consolidated, right now in many regions it's not very consolidated. If it warms up quickly or is subject to rain, then the conditions and the situation are not really going to be what's covered in this course. We need to get into the melt freeze season and this true mature spring weather. Otherwise, you do need to understand more of the level 1 material. So that's the Climbers course. That's what it is. That's why we use Dokios. You can see how it works. I've just shown you what the platform looks like. And if you want to know exactly what it covers, you know how to find that out. And I think you should be looking at that for any course that you take, but not only Avalanche courses, but any other course. Because there's a lot of people out there. I get emails regularly about how to create a course in 10 minutes and then spend $1,000 promoting it and make $10,000. That's the claim anyway. It used to be create a course in 5 or 6 hours. Now I get emails saying use AI and create it in 15 minutes. Okay, that's not what we have here. And if you're purchasing a course, you should know where it came from and who's behind it. And in fact, not only do they say create a course in 5 hours, they say to do it with no expertise. And again, that's not what we're about. So check out the course. If you're climbing and ski touring in spring, it's very beneficial. If you want to take our level 1 later, you can apply the cost of this course to the level 1. If you've taken the level 1, you can take this one for free. There's a little bit of overlap. The rescue part is a separate mini course that overlaps. So if you've completed a level 1, you can take this for free. And if you complete this beginning to end, you can apply it to the level 1. And it'll save you a great deal of money on that course. Okay, that's it. It's probably more than I was going to do. It's a long video, but we're not selling 5-minute look at this, sign up videos. So I hope I'll see you in the course. If I do, feel free to email me and contact me anytime. Like I said, it's as interactive as we can be. So I'm going to take my spring shirt off because it's cold here and put a sweater back on. But spring's coming, and I thought I'd put on a bright color for the climbing course, be seasonal. So, bye.